Susan. Hey, Gail. So I was going to wait until my husband got home from town before I went live, but couldn't wait no more. So, anyway, I was not expecting to go live for a second time today, but here we are. Hi. Have you heard the news? Have you heard the news? Assuming everybody can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me so that I don't have another mishap like I did this morning. And I gotta put something on my lips. My lips are super duper chapped. Hi, folks. Hey, Morgana Banana. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can. Okay, you can hear. Good deal. Good deal. Okay. So, breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. If you haven't already heard, spin, stop it. Bryan Kohberger is pleading guilty. They're supposed to do the deal on Wednesday. I don't know what time yet, but I was already planning to do another live stream on Wednesday. So it looks like this is what we will be live streaming. Forget the other trial. I was holed up in there in my chair, nice and comfy, cozy, and my phone starts ding, 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 ding from Twitter. And then my sister Mickey sends me a message, and yeah, the whole internet is blowing up about Kohberger. So, I know. What are we going to watch now? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm more interested in wondering if we are going to get any information. That's my main concern is well, my number one concern would be for the families and how they're feeling about this, right? Yeah, then Gail Gail, Morgana sent a message and said, yo, Gail said, get on now. So, like, okay. She didn't actually say that, but yeah. And I was like, ooh. So, main concern is the family, right? Prayers for the Idaho firefighter community. What's going on with that? Haven't heard anything about that. I had gotten back from the doctor's office. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Fine. So, yeah. And hey, Patricia, I know it's not what they wanted. And I've already heard that the Gonzalez family's already put out a statement. Basically said that they were shocked and were not expecting this. And they're very upset. And that the state of Idaho has failed them. And yeah, so can't say that I blame them. But there was what is going on in Idaho, honestly? Somebody tell me what's going on in Idaho. So what I want to know is if the details are going to come out. Are we going to get the details? I've been hearing people even saying, oh, well, the judge could, like, make Kohberger write a statement about what he did. That kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, is he going to give this family any kind of closure? If he's going to plead guilty, then... So the reason he's pled guilty is to get himself off take the death penalty off the table. The plea is he will spend the rest of his life, 4 counts, 4 life in prisons, without the possibility of parole. And any appeals would be gone, nipped in the bud. No appeals. So he's donezo. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. But would it have been, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like life in prison versus death penalty, you know? Some 20-year-old set a forest fire and then started shooting the firefighters that came to put out the fire. Lord have mercy. Hadn't heard that. Jeez, what is this world coming to? I don't know what's going on in this crazy, crazy world. But we're going to spend just a couple minutes. I'm not going to be on here very long because I got to get kiddo in the bathtub. So and we haven't had dinner yet either. I'm going to switch it over. We're going to watch a couple things real quick. It happened yesterday. I hadn't heard about it. I had not heard about it. So I think this is on News Nation. Brian Enton is the one that broke the story. So, credit to Brian Enton and News Nation. Let me make sure. Okay, now I've got it added to the screen. Let's watch this real quick. It's only like a minute and 25 seconds.
All right, breaking news coming in from the state of Idaho once again, but on a different story, as News Nation has just learned that the accused killer, Bryan Kohberger, accepted a plea deal. Yeah, a plea deal was offered, and he has accepted the deal. Sources are confirming that prosecutors proposed dropping the death penalty. That was the deal in exchange for Kohberger pleading guilty to committing 4 murders and pleading guilty to burglary as well. So guilty plea in exchange for no death penalty. Now, the background on this story, you'll remember he's accused of killing those 4 University of Idaho students at their home. It was back in November of 2022. Sources say Kohberger must also agree to spend the rest of his life in prison without any possibility of parole. So jail for life, no parole. But again, no death penalty. Must waive his right to appeal as part of this as well. Plea deal has been accepted. A court hearing for a change of plea will take place on Wednesday, so in 2 days. So this is just breaking. They'll be covering it in more detail tonight on Elizabeth Vargas Reports and also on Banfield. One of many big stories we're covering. Now,
thank you for watching. Subscribe.
All right. So, yeah, Wednesday is the change of plea hearing, and I don't know. Hi, Susie McCallum. Hello and welcome. Think the internet will break with this. It's already reached the BBC here in the UK. Yeah. It's went far and wide really quickly. Families of Kaylee and Xana have publicly stated they are not happy about the plea. Yeah. I hadn't heard from Xana's family yet, but I know that the Gonzalez family, they have already put out a statement saying that they're pretty upset about it. I wanted to go over to Twitter real quick and grab that statement from their family. And I'm sure that Steve Gonzalez will be on doing an interview with somebody as early as tonight, because you know that the news outlets are beating their doors down, right? Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Shoot. Give me a second, folks. I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. I'm waiting on a login code. I don't know why all of a sudden my phone wants to be super all of a sudden it wants to be super duper like, yo, let's be super secure here. I just want to get into X. Come on. Come on. No, that's not what I want. Is it going to do it through my email? Okay, here we go. All right, so where did it go? I had it here on my phone. Kathy Russin had posted it a while ago. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat if anybody's saying anything. Here it is. So, from the Gonsalves family page, it said, "It's true. We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support." So, that was earlier, about an hour or so ago. People are, so upset. Yeah, the state of Idaho has failed us. Exactly. Oh, that's Morgana's niece. Hey, Cherie. Xana's aunt talked to TMZ today. Okay. Can the judge deny the plea agreement? I mean, yeah, he could, but I really don't see why he would. I mean, honestly, I don't see why he would. Um, I personally thought that they would want to discuss this with the parents. From what I'm gathering, the parents just received a letter, like letting them know this was going to take place. I don't know. Hopefully he will have to say what he is pleading guilty to. Yeah, that's my hope. If you guys remember, whenever he went before the judge for the first time, that female judge, he wouldn't even stand up and say not guilty himself. His attorney had to do it, right? Hey, Laura, the dude is pleading guilty to take the death penalty off. There will be no trial. There will be no trial. He's pleading guilty to all 4 counts of murder and the count of burglary. Hey, baby. I'm waiting on husband. Should be here anytime. So, yeah, he's pleading guilty. Or on Wednesday. So, Wednesday, I don't know yet what the time is. But we should be here in a time but they're in Idaho, so that would be, I think, I always get confused. I think that they're 2 hours behind Eastern Standard Time. Cherie, I don't know if it's that so much as it is he just wants the death penalty off the table. I don't know if his family had a part in helping them come to this decision, or if Anne is just like, yeah, it's a no. This isn't going to work. You're screwed. I don't know. The prosecutors offered it, Laura. The prosecutors offered him this deal, and he took it. That's why the family is mad. The Gonsalves family and apparently Xana's family too are mad. They're saying that the state of Idaho has failed them because they offered him this deal. What are you doing, baby? Oh, you got Bingo and Bluey. Yeah, I know, Laura. I know. Well, the good thing about this is that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. So there's automatically some justice there, but not the what, honey? Not right now. I see Bingo and Bluey in your hat though. I know. Okay, hold on. She wants me to get Bingo and Bluey because she can't get to it. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so um anyway, I don't know what I was saying. Um okay, Laura, I won't be on. I just wanted to pop on and do this real quick if you're still here. Have a good show, have a good live stream. Um but we'll be talking about this on Wednesday because I want to find out what time the hearing is and watch it. So, yeah, make sure to hit the thumbs up button as you come in. Hey Margaret, good to see you. But like I said, the good news is that he will at least be serving the rest of his life in prison. So, which is good enough for him. But I know that the Gonzalez family and probably other family members of the other victims wanted to see justice in the way of the death penalty. I'll say that. So, I was going to look at my phone real quick. Because for some reason, I can't log into Twitter on my computer. I can only log into it from my phone. Lord have mercy. It just blows my mind. They were actually in court. Then there was something going on in Pennsylvania where people were, you know, being people were speaking about whether they had to be, I guess it was a court hearing they had today somewhere in Pennsylvania, regarding Kohberger and how if those people on the witness list were going to be made to have to travel to Idaho. And I think the judge was like, yeah, they're going to have to. Sorry. But yeah. And then all of a sudden, poof, now he's going to plead guilty. I just like, what? Okay. It was today. I'm just floored. This is crazy. All right, there was another one. I was going to watch this one too. This was from ABC News. Hold on. Let's check this one out real quick.
Breaking news here on ABC News Live Reports. I'm Alex Bechet in Washington. Right now, we are following news out of Idaho. Bryan Kohberger, accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in 2022, has accepted a plea deal. ABC News has confirmed that he has agreed to plead guilty to all counts. ABC News Live anchor Kana Whitworth is on the phone with us. She has been following this case from the beginning. And Kana, what details can you share with us about how this deal came together?
Yeah, Alex, I mean, this is simply a stunning turn of events in a case that has gripped this entire nation. Up until today, we were looking at an August 18th trial date with Bryan Kohberger's life on the line. What we know now from families who received a letter is that Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. In part of this plea deal, the defendant will plead guilty to all counts listed in the indictment. So that is 4 counts of murder as well as a burglary count as well. He will serve 4 life sentences consecutively with no possibility of parole. And the defendant will waive all rights to appeal this conviction as well. It also sounds like they will be seeking some restitution for families. This is things like money for funeral expenses and, victims' compensation. The next thing that's happening, Alex, is there will be a change of plea hearing, and that is this Wednesday, July 2nd. And so for some, this may be some finality and some closure. For others, you have to imagine, Alex, there are so many unanswered questions in this case, and I'm sure that there's fear that those questions will remain unanswered. But here we are after more than 2 years. The one and only suspect in the Idaho college murders case, the man who stood accused of murdering Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Ethan Chapin. His name is Bryan Kohberger, and he has accepted a plea deal.
Well, and listen, Kana, of all the trials it feels like we've been keeping track of over the last several weeks, this was the one that we anticipated was at least going to have some sort of resolution later on in the year at the earliest. But for our viewers that are just kind of catching up, can you walk us through what the past several months have been like with this case?
Okay, so hey Brenda. Megan says, I'm hoping the judge denies it because the death penalty is off the table. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Hey, Kel. The elephant's all yours, Morgana. Morgana sent me this. I think this was the article that Megan was talking about from Xana's family. I'm going to read this real quick. It says, this is from TMZ. Victim's family told prosecutors, don't you dare make a deal. Says the family of Xana Kernodle is livid over the plea deal offered to accused murderer Bryan Kohberger, and they told prosecutors they had better not dare go through with it. Kim Kernodle, Xana's aunt, who was so furious she was in tears, tells TMZ, prosecutors floated the idea of a plea deal a few days ago, and the family made it clear, no way. When we spoke with Kim, she was on a conference call with prosecutors. She says prosecutors told her the defense approached prosecutors with a plea deal, and the prosecution went along to spare the families the pain of a trial. Kim says that's ridiculous because at least 2 of the families, hers and the Gonzalez family, wanted Kohberger to face a jury. Kim says prosecutors were especially concerned that the families would have to see the gruesome crime scene photos of their loved ones, but she says, we know the graphics, they were not trying to spare us. Kim also says when her family got a call from prosecutors a few days ago about a deal, they were vague. Prosecutors never mentioned taking the death penalty off the table. Wow. What's especially puzzling, Kim says prosecutors told her there was enough evidence to secure a guilty verdict. As we reported under the deal, Kohberger will plead guilty to 4 counts of murder, and in return, prosecutors will take the death penalty off the table. Prosecutors will recommend life in prison without the possibility of parole. A hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, and presumably that's when prosecutors and Kohberger will ask the judge to approve the plea deal. Kim says she wants the judge to delay making a decision so the families can figure out their next move. Wow. I'm sorry. If I were, I don't know how Ethan's family and how Maddie's family feel. But that is a good outcome, Kel. I mean, and I agree. That's what I said a while ago. That's, if you want to look at it from a positive, he's never going to see the light of day again. But, whenever they go to do these plea deals, they're supposed to get insight from the victims' families. And if half of them or the majority of them are wanting it to go to trial because they want him to receive the death penalty, then they feel like they're not getting justice. Imagine it went to trial and it was a hung jury, how the families would feel. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing that you have to consider. That's the thing that everybody has to consider that. I just don't. I mean, if the prosecution feels like they've got an open and shut case, then I don't know. I'm just really confused. I'm really confused. They will still get their day in court to give victim testimony. Just because he gets a deal doesn't mean he doesn't have to listen to what they have to say. Right, right. But, they want to see him in the electric chair or in front of the firing squad. That's what they want. And, I mean, I can't say that I blame them. Can't say that I blame them. I got a hair like right in my eye. Or maybe it's an eyelash turned inward. I can't tell which. But either way, it's good and it's bad. I mean, good in the fact that he won't ever see the light of day. He'll be stuck in prison. I read somewhere someone said maybe he'll get the same treatment that Jeffrey Dahmer got. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Because if he's not on death row, he'll be in Gen Pop. I mean, he's not going to be kept, in solitary on protective custody forever. Definitely a risk when you go to trial. I mean, definitely, 100%. You never know what you're going to get when it comes to a box of chocolate or a jury. That's true. That's true. I just think that they have so much against him, and most of it we don't even know about. I don't know. I'm eager to see interviews by the families, though. I want to hear from them. I want to hear what they have to say. Right? I want to hear what they have to say. And I want to hear what the judge has to say on Wednesday. As soon as I get a time for this hearing on Wednesday, I will 100% go ahead and get the stream scheduled. Because I cannot miss this. But I want to know if the case is over and it's kaput done, then the gag order would be released. information would start pouring out, I would think. I would assume. So we will hopefully get the details one way or the other, whether it's through the court system or through the trial, you know. I don't think he's going to change his mind. I mean, he could change his mind up until the very last second, but I don't see that happening. Brenda says, could imagine if he walked free to do it again. Oh my God. Megan says, so true. And with them trying to use autism as an excuse, it could sway one juror. It could, but I don't know. Coming from a parent of someone with autism, I just can't. I mean, the dude has a PhD, you know? I mean, he has the look of Richard Ramirez. Oof. Kel said, I just like the fact that if he thought he was so smart trying to get away with this and he pleads guilty, that is an F in that class. He failed to being the smart guy, and that is a blow to his ego. Oh, you know it is. You know it is 100%. But they're probably like, okay, bottom line, you go to trial, you're going to get the death penalty, period, point blank. Or you plead guilty and spend the rest of your life in prison alive, hopefully, unless or until someone Jeff Dahmers him. Oh, I think my husband's home. Yep, he's home. I told him about it before he left. He was like, wait a minute, is that the one that killed the college kids? I said, yeah. Allegedly. I know and love many people with autism, and his actions and lack of empathy are not because of the autism spectrum disorder, more like psychotic. I do believe he has, you know, something going on. Whether he's on the spectrum or not, I don't know. But I said this the other day. You can't take someone, you take any serial killer. Hold on a second. Hold on. He couldn't hear me. I was trying to holler at him. But I don't think the autism would lead to not guilty, but could make someone have a hard time going forward with death penalty. That's true. That's true. And they did. That's why they wanted to introduce it, was because, you know, because of the death penalty. But what I was saying is, I feel like there's not a single solitary serial killer out there who doesn't have some sort of mental disease or whatever you want to call it. Syndrome, disease, this, that, or the other. Even this being psychotic. There's something wrong with all of them, you know? Yeah, he's definitely got a lot going on upstairs in that head of his. He sure does. Jeffrey already knew. Yeah. I do know. I don't know. Let's see what some more of this says.
It's been tumultuous. There has been filing after filing and pushback from the defense, initially trying to delay the trial. They have maintained their client's innocence this entire time. They wanted to have the death penalty taken off the table. They tried many times unsuccessfully for that to happen. In the meantime, this has been under a gag order. So people involved in this case have not been able to speak out about it, which is why so much of this case has been shrouded in secrecy. We thought that it was going to go to trial in Moscow, and then it got moved down to Boise, and then it got pushed back yet again.
And not only shrouded in secrecy, but the rumor mills, have gone crazy since the very, very, very beginning because of the secrecy, because of the gag order. I understand that they're trying to protect the case and protect them, from poisoning a jury, but still, it's the lack of information that causes the rumor mills to just go wild.
So here we are now, about a month before this trial was supposed to start, and we have learned that instead of a trial, there will be a plea deal.
And Kenna, do we know that in this plea deal, was there anything that was taken off the table? Was the death penalty taken off the table?
The death penalty is taken off the table. So exactly, in exchange for pleading guilty, the death penalty will be taken off the table. It's a pretty standard cut and dry plea deal. There weren't very many concessions, which you have to imagine there may have been families out there that wanted concessions like that.
Well, and the other thing is, because we just saw your interview earlier.
And they were saying that people have been talking about that, saying, well, that there have been times before when the judge has been like, okay, you're going to plead guilty. I need you to tell me what happened. Why, where's the, like I want to know where the knife is. I want to know why he did it. I want to know what his intentions were when he went in there. Did he only plan to kill one of them or all four of them? Or, had he been planning this, or was it just something off? We know he'd been planning it, right? But I want to know all those things. And the family does too. Right? Cherie said this may have been in the plans all along, that may be why they took down the house too soon. I don't know. Yeah, it made the Crime Cafe nuts. Yeah, it did.
Earlier today with the friends of some of these victims. I don't know if you've had a chance to speak with them since this news, but for our viewers, how are they hoping to remember their best friends?
It's so important, after speaking with Emily Lant and Hunter Johnson, the two that were the first to arrive at that King Road home, that the world remember their friends for how they lived their lives and not for their last day, not for how they died. I had a chance to speak with Ethan Chapin's entire family as well, and their family motto is to live like Ethan. He was a beaming, bright ray of sunshine. All of these kids were really described in that manner, and that's what's the most important here, is that we remember these kids, we remember how they lived, and we don't lose sight of the families here. Maybe there's finality here, but they never get to wake up with their kids ever, ever again.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. I remember in that interview hearing one of the friends talking about how they really kind of rejected this label of the Idaho 4, because you had four individuals who had different personalities and very much their own identities here, and that's something that we certainly don't want to lose. Kenna, if you don't mind sticking around, I want to bring in our legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer, who's also with us right now. And Brian, first off, did this deal surprise you?
Oh, Alex, absolutely. This is shocking and surprising for a number of reasons. Now, whenever you have a death penalty case, the major issue or major concern that a defense attorney will have is trying to get that off the table. And so understanding there's a plea deal where Bryan Kohberger will not be put to death, especially in a state that has such, let's say, wide-reaching ways in which they can employ the death penalty, that makes sense. But he's still going to die within prison. I mean, this sentence is 4 consecutive life sentence. No one lives that long, especially not in prison. So I would have thought, based on the offer that was given, he would have still have gone to trial because it's death one way or another.
Well, and also the timing of this, Bryan. I mean, is there anything to glean from that? We talked about that August 18th trial date, essentially.
Yeah, so plea deals always get their best the closer you get to trial. And there's a number of factors that go into it. If you think about it from a defense attorney's side of view, or even the defendant's point of view, they're getting nervous. They're getting worried. Whether you're innocent or guilty or you believe yourself one way or the other, having your life in the hands of 12 people that you've never met before can be very, can shake you to your core in many ways. And for the government, they're thinking about putting on these witnesses, putting on people who are going to testify about some of the most horrific events that happened probably in this community, and putting the family through this all. And so they're thinking about sparing the family. Now, we know at least to some degree that a letter must have been sent to the families to okay this. And so the families, at least on their face until we hear otherwise, presumably were okay with this offer that Bryan Kohberger would spend the rest of his natural life in prison without having to be subjected to the photos, the testimony, and the imagery that would have come from this trial.
What do you make of his defense team's strategy in this case?
I think it made sense. This is a defense team that was a public defender office from a neighboring county facing a death penalty case, and what you do with that for appeals, and I think with here.
All right. I'm going to move over to one more video. Let me switch to over here. So this was shared earlier today. I don't think the family has to agree. It's just a courtesy that they ask them. They could still go outside of that and do what they want. Yeah, I know. All right. This is another look at that Amazon Prime series that's supposed to be coming out July 11th. We'll take another little look at this.
College murders case. The trial date is now set. This morning, close friends of the victims are telling their story for the first time on
house that November morning. Their actions described by other friends about what they
see the world in pure innocence, and that all gets
right, but about how they lived.
So this is the 2 friends that the surviving roommates called to come help them because they didn't know something bad was going on in the house. They didn't know what was going on. They were scared. These are the 2 friends. Hunter, the boy, the young man, he's not a boy, sitting on the left-hand side, is the one that went upstairs and found Xana laying in the floor. And you could hear him on the 911 call saying, "Get out, get out, get out, get out." That's him. So,
you see the world in pure innocence, and that all gets ripped away from you in one phone call. That's just the day that changed it all.
This morning, for the first time, the best friends of Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle speaking out about that November day when they discovered Ethan, Xana, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan brutally murdered in an off-campus home.
I don't think anyone expects anything like that ever in their life to happen.
Hunter Johnson and his girlfriend Emily Allant now telling their story in a new Prime Video docu-series, One Night in Idaho, The College Murders.
We were a big group of friends. Why would you target those 4?
Emily says she and Xana were inseparable.
We were attached at the hip probably the first day that we met. Yeah, we just clicked immediately. We were same personalities, I feel like.
I
I love it when people talk about Ethan and Xana sort of being like male and female versions of each other.
Oh, it's very much true. They were the same person.
Hunter and Emily say the fall weekend started like any other with a big football game. The friends snapping this photo that Saturday.
It was a normal weekend for us, just hanging out with our friends.
The next morning, Emily says Dylan, one of the surviving roommates, called her concerned, asking her and Hunter to come over. In the documentary, you tell the story of really not feeling alarmed when Dylan called you.
I joked around with her on the phone. You know, it's something you would never expect.
It's November, so I had shorts on, slides on. Like, I wasn't prepared to obviously stay there. I was just going over to check, see what's going on. I would say as soon as you get there, you know something's wrong.
Hunter was the first person to arrive to King Road. To discover what happened, their friend Josie Louderin, who was also there, describing the moments in the docuseries.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right. Like, you could feel it almost. Hunter was ahead of me and Emily and immediately was pushed out, and Hunter was like, get out, somebody call 911.
You hear Hunter on the 911 call, telling the girls there was an unconscious person, protecting them from the graphic details.
Is she breathing?
No.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
Truly, in my heart, I believe God was with me that day, and he gave me the strength to get through that day.
As authorities entered the home, the friends say they were told to sit outside, waiting for hours with little information.
We watched the ambulance come and we watched them immediately leave. So I think that was a hard part for sure.
That second you realize there's no one to be saved.
Right.
Their best friends inexplicably murdered. Not knowing who was responsible or why, they feared for their own safety.
We just left to get away, be safe.
Yeah.
Is our
You
mindset.
didn't feel safe?
No.
In the nearly 7 weeks it took police to arrest a suspect, Emily, Hunter, and surviving roommates Dylan and Bethany became the targets of online sleuths and social media attacks.
Lots of threats, people saying I should confess to murdering them. I felt like I was less than a person in that point in my life.
On December 30th, 2022, police arrested then 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger. To Emily and Hunter, he was a complete stranger. The murder trial set to begin in August. His attorneys say he's innocent. Does justice lie in a conviction?
I don't think there's gonna ever be any justice.
I mean, yeah, we can have justice for the conviction of it, but I don't get to still hang out with Ethan. So
They still don't get to.
they don't have a son. They don't have a daughter anymore.
They say they hope people remember who their friends were beyond the headlines.
Who they are as people is so much more than the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be known as the Idaho 4, and they shouldn't be attached to, you know, the name of who did that to them. And I just think that, you know, hopefully one day that they're just seen as who they are and not what happened to them.
Yeah, Emily went on to tell me they are so much more than their last day. Now, they joined Ethan's family to speak in this docu-series One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, which premieres July 11th on Prime Video. Also keep in mind, guys, we're closely monitoring a Pennsylvania court today where several potential witnesses for the defense will learn if they need to testify in Idaho when this trial is set to start in August.
Which now isn't going to happen. Yeah, I don't know if he can be forced to do that. I mean, Kel said, I think it could be a condition of the plea deal, but the prosecution would have to include that as a requirement of the offer. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just blown away. Blown away. But you guys, I smell dinner. Husband has already started cooking, and I still got to get her fed and in the tub. And I'm going to scooch on out of here. But thank you for joining me for the last 51 minutes and 29 seconds. I appreciate you for coming and hanging out. And what a way to end the day, right? I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to feel about it. I do want to hear from the families. I want to hear what they have to say. So, No, it don't smell like fried chicken. It smells like quesadillas. We're having quesadillas tonight. Tonight is normally our soup and sandwich night, but not tonight. Dale's like, how about quesadillas? I said, but Tuesday is our taco night. And he said, we'll have tacos on Tuesday too. I was like, okay, I won't argue with that. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Megan. It was good to see you. I'm glad you were able to pop back in with us. It's always good to see you. All right. I will see you guys back on Wednesday. Not sure what time yet, but we will be watching this hearing. So, I love y'all. Mean it. See you later, taters. Bye.